A very good morning, students. Hope you all are doing well. You are welcome in your chemistry class. Now we are starting part 2 of atoms and molecules, chapter 3 of your chemistry. So, start with Dalton's atomic theory. First of all, see who was Dalton. He was born in a very poor family, Weaver's family, in 1766, and at the age of 12 he became a teacher in school, and at very small age in 1793 he became a principal in a school, and he presented his atomic theory in 1808. He used to do researches, and he was teaching physics, maths and chemistry in a college, and then in 1808 he presented his atomic theory. So this is all about his atomic theory. So what are the postulates of Dalton's atomic theory? Number one, all matter is made of very tiny particles called atoms. Students, you know the same was said by Maharshi Kannan. He also said that atom is made up of very tiny particles. He named it Parmanu. Democritus also said the same. He said that all matter is made up of indivisible tiny particles called atoms. And Dalton also said that all matter is made of very tiny particles called atoms. Second, he said atoms are indivisible particles. This is again, Maharshi Kannan also said that Parmanu can never be divided again. In the same way, Democritus also said that indivisible particles are atoms, and same was accepted. Dalton was agreed with this. Atoms are indivisible particles which cannot be created or destroyed in a chemical reaction. You have learnt in law of conservation of mass that atoms cannot be created or destroyed in a chemical reaction. Next, atoms of a given element are identical in mass and chemical properties. By saying this, he was saying that atoms of a given element are identical in mass. Means if suppose we are taking one element, that is carbon, then all the atoms of carbon are identical in mass and its chemical properties. If we are taking chlorine, all the atoms of chlorine are identical in mass and chemical properties. If we are taking hydrogen, means all the atoms of hydrogen are identical in mass and chemical properties. Means if one element we are taking, then all atoms of that particular element are always identical in mass and chemical properties. Identical means exactly same. Next, atoms of different elements have different masses and chemical properties. If we are saying like chlorine, if we are saying like hydrogen, then chlorine and hydrogen, which atoms they have the different masses and chemical properties. In the same way, atoms of carbon, atoms of hydrogen will have different masses and chemical properties. In the same way, atoms of oxygen and sulfur will have the different masses and chemical properties. So, in one element, the atoms are similar, but in different elements, the atoms are different. Then he said atoms combine in the ratio of small whole numbers to form compound. You know that compound is made up of the reaction of two or more elements, and when two or more elements combine together in a definite ratio, then a compound is formed. So he also said that atoms combine in the ratio of small whole numbers to form compounds. Next, the relative number and the kinds of atoms are constant in a given compound. You know, if you are taking some example like carbon dioxide will have always one atom of carbon and two atoms of oxygen. Means the relative number and kinds of atoms always are constant in a given compound. In the same way, you take the example of water, H2O. Water will always have 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. Again here the number, that is 2 of hydrogen, and the kind, that is hydrogen, and number of oxygen is 1, and oxygen atom, means the relative number and kinds of atoms are constant in a given compound. Students, these all postulates please learn well, because this is very important. Many times you can find this question in your paper, that write down the postulates of Dalton's atomic theory. So learn well all these 6 postulates of Dalton's atomic theory. Next, come for numerical part. This is from your NCERT. In a reaction, first numerical is, in a reaction 5.3 gram of sodium carbonate reacted with 6 gram of ethanoic acid. The products were 2.2 gram of carbon dioxide, 0.9 gram of water, and 8.2 gram of sodium ethanoate. So what we will do, we will write the reaction first of all, word equation we will write here. And we know that when we are writing this, that sodium carbonate reacted with ethanoic acid means these two are the reactants, sodium carbonate and ethanoic acid. So we will write it on the left hand side. Sodium carbonate we have written here, and then plus ethanoic acid, these are the reactants, and the products were, so after arrow we will write the products. These products are sodium ethanoate, carbon dioxide, and water. Now write down the masses. 5.3 gram is of sodium carbonate, then 6 gram is of ethanoic acid, sodium ethanoate is 8.2 gram, water is 0.9 gram, and carbon dioxide is 2.2 gram. So as it is given in the question, you will write in the same way here down the reaction. What you have to do in this question, show that these observations are in agreement with the law of conservation of mass. You have to find it whether the mass of reactant and the mass of product is same or not. So after writing the reaction and the masses of these particular compounds of reactant and the products, you will add these masses. After adding these masses, we are finding that the reactant is coming 11.3 gram, and in the same way the product is coming 11.3 gram. So means it is these observations are in agreement with the law of conservation of mass, which says that mass neither can be created nor can be destroyed during a reaction. Next question is, hydrogen and oxygen combine in the ratio of 1:8 by mass to form water. What mass of oxygen gas would be required to react completely with 3 gram of hydrogen gas? This is very simple question. You know, when we are saying hydrogen and oxygen combine in the ratio of 1:8 by mass, means 1 gram of hydrogen combines with 8 gram of oxygen to form water, right? So what mass of oxygen will be required to react completely with 3 gram of hydrogen gas? If 3 gram of hydrogen gas, you can use a unitary method which you do in your maths also. 1 gram hydrogen combines with 8 gram of oxygen. So 3 gram of hydrogen gas will combine with 8 multiply 3, that is 24 gram of oxygen. So in this way you are finding that what amount is needed of oxygen, that is what mass is needed, that is 24 gram. Another way you can do it like this also. You can write hydrogen and oxygen to form water. Water is formed 1:8, means 1 gram of hydrogen and 8 gram of oxygen. If you are taking here, suppose x gram you are writing here, or and x gram 8x gram is of oxygen, and then you get 1:8 water. So if x is 1 here, so 3 multiply 1, 3 gram. 3 gram of hydrogen reacts with 8 multiply 3, because here 3 is the mass of hydrogen, it comes 24. And you will find it when you are finding the ratio, it is coming again 1:8, 3:24 means 1:8, because you know that water, if we are talking about, always will come in 1:8, whether you are making by 1 gram of hydrogen or by 3 gram of hydrogen. Next is, which postulate of Dalton's atomic theory is the result of law of conservation of mass? The following postulates of Dalton's atomic theory is a result of law of conservation of mass. Which postulate? This is the second postulate, which said that atoms are indivisible particles which cannot be created or destroyed in a chemical reaction. This is very simple question. Next question is also very simple. Which postulate of Dalton's atomic theory can explain the law of definite proportion? This is the sixth postulates of Dalton's atomic theory, which says that the relative number and the kinds of atoms are constant in a given compound. Hence, students, you will learn the Dalton's postulates as well as you will write these all postulates in your notebook, and you will do these all numericals also in your notebook. That's all for today. Thank you.